What we're talking Oscar Pistorius trial, and it's been gaining some serious momentum now. The whole world is watching, and we've been asking the question this morning: do you think the hype that this trial is getting is it well deserved? Because there are so many people being killed in South Africa on a daily basis who don't get this kind of hype, and we just want to know your thoughts. And we've got some comments that we want to read out to you this morning.
We found some on Expresso Show's Facebook page, and then also if you want to follow the commentary at Expresso Show on Twitter. Veronica says it's too much. She says, wish they can switch it off. And I quote, Barry Roo is a drama dragon. It's more like a competition between the lawyers, she says. The next one was from Nick. He says, I can't judge Oscar. I'm just waiting for the outcome of the trial. Sadly, I can see the stress he's taking. Is it guilt? Is it hurt? So he's asking questions about this. But the bottom part is what pulled my, or got my attention. He says, I think the world is enjoying this to up their numbers. And I think he's implying the television and even the social media that people are posting around this. It's too much hype because it's Oscar. It's a big deal, he says.
Indeed.
So everyone's speaking out about it. If you want to see some of the comments, it's live on our Facebook page right now at Expresso Show. There's another one that came through from Mbuso. This one says, I don't care if it's too far or not. He says, what I know is justice must be served. It is easy to say anything if you are not related to the deceased. Let us know your comments. You're welcome to go to Expresso Show on Facebook or follow the conversation on Twitter at Expresso Show for sure.
It's very, very interesting because we are talking about, I mean, it's huge coverage here. I mean, it's even been said that this trial is enjoying more coverage than the FIFA World Cup will have. So thank you for those comments. Like Ilana said, you know what, keep commenting. It's
well, everyone's talking about it, and we want to bring you the truth and the real story here on the show. Yesterday, we spoke about the 7th day. Earlier, Katlego mentioned some of the details. Today is the day, or the 8th day, rather, and Katlego has the story. Over to you, Kat.
Thank you, Lana. Now, some of the major issues in the Oscar Pistorius trial have related to what witnesses heard or didn't hear. And this has sparked, of course, a lot of discussion and debate around the truth, specifically whether what people heard were gunshots or the cricket bat being used to bash down the door, and also the screams that came from the house that morning and who they came from. Now, with us in the studio, we have a sound expert, Mr. Terry Mackenzie-Hoy, to clarify this matter a little bit. Terry, thank you very much for coming in. To start off with first, when it comes to sound, our perception of sound, is it an exact science of measuring sound, or are people's perceptions of sound subjective?
The measurement of sound can be very accurate. We can measure it using a meter like this, a sound level meter. And this is a calibrated sound level meter. It's very accurate. You can measure absolutely with any frequency band, high impulse, low impulse, all sounds with it. Measurement is very accurate. Perception is very different. We have receptors in our ears which alter depending on our need to hear certain sounds. So, for example, a woman who has a young child will hear the cry of a young child 4 times better than I will. On the other hand, if you have a person who walks around with their ears on an iPod or one of those devices, you can stop them and say, what music have you just heard? And they will say, I don't know. What tune? Don't know. And so the perception is very different, measurement very accurate.
So with that being said, is it then, would you say in your expertise, is it possible for someone to confuse the sound of a cricket bat with that of a gunshot?
The sound of a gunshot has been extensively studied. There's a document here, which is by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, an introduction to forensic gunshot acoustics. And they, for example, have got a whole lot of gunshots here.
Let me just show this to camera while you tell us about it. So these graphs we're seeing here are all variations of different guns.
Exactly.
And the sounds they make.
It's got different revolver models, different barrel lengths, different bullets, semi-auto and so on. But the thing to look at is the time of these noises.
Yes.
It's 1/2 millionth of a second they're occurring. So a gunshot happens very, very quickly.
Yes.
But a cricket bat doesn't happen very, very quickly. Also, to get even remotely the same magnitude, the same level as a gunshot, you'd have to take a cricket bat and you'd have to swing it like a baseball bat.
Yes.
Now, if we have a situation whereby you've got a gunshot and then 3 other gunshots, you'd have to swing and be able to pull it back and swing in the same time. So in the Pistorius case, it was gunshot, pause, gunshot, gunshot, gunshot. you'd have to be able to swing this bat in gunshot hit and very quickly.
And still get that same frequency of sound.
Yeah.
Well, here's a very interesting thing. We found a video online of a gentleman who took on his own experiment, if you will, to try and illustrate the difference or perhaps the similarity between the sound of a cricket bat and a gunshot. Take a look. So there you have it. I mean, it's quite startling when you hear that, that the difference might not be that vast, but in fact, just like you said, that in order to get that frequency of shots, yeah, you'd have to be able to swing very quickly. Now, another one of the big debates was the screams that some of the witnesses say they heard, whether they were that of a man or that of a woman. So in your experience, is it possible for a man to sound like a woman when screaming?
Yes, definitely. If you listen to cricketers when there's an LBW and they shout, "How's that?" I challenge you to say that "How's that" has been shouted by men or women. You definitely hear the bass component of their talking, but you can, "How's that?"
Yes.
You can hear a very high frequency, so you could confuse a man with a woman quite easily.
So how does distance play a role in that fact? Because like you said, I mean, obviously when we watch cricket, you watch it from close by, and so you hear the bass component of it, but we're talking about the likes of Michelle Berger, who testified, and she was 170 meters away. So does the distance make a difference?
The distance does make a difference, firstly because the level just falls. So going back to the cricket bat, you're not going to hear a cricket bat, for example, at more than 200 meters at all. The frequency, the high or low frequency, sound absorbs high frequencies much better than low frequencies. That's why when a taxi goes past, you hear the thumps of the bass, but you don't hear the screams of the passengers, if you like. But high frequencies are much better absorbed by air. So over a distance, a high frequency will deteriorate much more quickly than low frequency.
Yeah, and a lot of the big debate on social media has been the fact that people just cannot fathom or believe that it's possible for a man to scream like a woman. But we found a clip that might just convince you. Take a look. So yeah, that might be humorous in a certain sense, but I mean, evidence like that could possibly be put to the table to prove the fact that it is possible for a man to scream like a woman, right? Yes, yeah. So in your summarization of the entire thing, you've heard the evidence as presented with regards to the sound.
Yes.
What do you make of it?
I think the cricket bat gunshot is really not going to fly because when you hear a single shot, you can say, what was that? Maybe that was a cricket bat. Maybe that was a car backfiring. Maybe it was a balloon popping, maybe something like that. But when you hear the subsequent shots, your ear memory says, oh, that's the same as the person, and now I identify it as a gunshot. My friend Melvin McKenzie, who lives in Mitchell's Plain, where he frequently hears gunshot, Melvin says that at a distance at night, long way away, because of the reflections of the houses, gunshots can sound a bit muffled and a bit different. But closer up, 200 or 300 meters, gunshot definitely is going to sound like a gunshot.
Sir, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here. Sound and acoustic expert Terry Mackenzie Hoy, just trying to clarify the sound issues, at least as they relate to the Oscar Pistorius murder trial. Now, we hope that that does help solve a bit of the mystery, but of course, state witnesses and defense witnesses will be brought to the fore to testify against this. Now, there are some more forensic experts to come, and it will be interesting to see what their expert testimony tells about what really happened on that fateful Valentine's Day morning. Tune in tomorrow, and we will be chatting to an expert on microfacial expressions to get an idea of what Oscar is really thinking in court. And of course, for more updates, visit www.sabcnews.com.